Furl. I've been lurking on Reddit for years, reading all these wild relationship stories on subs like Our Relationships and R.A. Amethia's Hole, and I figured it's time to share my becaw. This all happened in the U.S., in a mid-sized city somewhere in the Midwest, where the winters are brutal and summers feel like you're living in a sauna, but I'll keep specifics vague. I'm writing this from the perspective of the husband me, and it's all real, no embellishments, just the raw details of how things unfolded over the years. It started about a decade ago when I was in my late 20s, working as a software developer for a mid-tier tech company, the kind where you grind away at code all day fixing bugs. I wasn't exactly living the dream. My days were a loop of coffee, screens, and takeout from the corner deli that always got my order wrong, but I was too polite to complain. Relationships? I'd had a few flings in college, but nothing stuck because I was the type who buried myself in work to avoid dealing with emotions. Then one random Tuesday I decided to sign up for this community coding workshop at the local library, not because I needed to learn more code, but because my boss was pushing tea. That's where I met her. She wasn't there for coding. She was volunteering as a graphic designer, helping with the visual aids for the presentations, sketching wireframes on a tablet while everyone else typed. We ended up paired for a group project, something silly like building a basic app for tracking neighborhood events. I remember her laughing at my terrible attempt to explain algorithms, saying it sounded like I was describing a bad blind date. She had this way of tilting her head when she listened, like she was really seeing you, not just nodding along. By the end of the workshop, we'd exchanged numbers under the pretense of finishing the project, but really, it was because talking to her felt effortless, like we'd skipped the awk. Our first real date wasn't planned. I texted her about a bug in the code, and she suggested meeting at a coffee shop to debug it over Lattice. We spent 3 hours there, barely touching the laptop, instead diving into stories about our upbringings, me from a blue-collar family where Dad worked factory shifts, and Mom Cly. She talked about how she freelanced designs for small businesses, turning logos into something memorable, and I shared my secret passion for building custom PCs, not just for Damon. There was no grand gesture. It was just comfortable. We started seeing each other regularly after that, walks in the park where we'd debate the merits of streaming services versus old-school DVDs, or cooking experiments in my tiny app. She introduced me to her world of art galleries, where I'd stand there pretending to understand abstract paintings, and I'd drag her to tech meetups where she'd doodle on napkins. Well, about 6 months in, things got serious without us even discussing it. She stayed over more nights than not, her sketchbooks piling up on my coffee table, and I found myself rearranging my schedule around her freelance gigs. One night, after a particularly rough day at work where a project deadline imploded, I came home to find she'd set up a makeshift fort in the living room with blankets and fairy lie. We talked until dawn about fears, mine of stagnation in a job that paid the bills but sucked the soul, hers of never making it big in design and always scraping by. That vulnerability sealed it for me. I realized I was in love, not the movie kind, but the real, messy version where you see someone's flaws and still choose them. We moved in together shortly after, combining our stuff in a rented two-bedroom that smelled faintly of previous tenants' pets. Adjusting wasn't seamless. She hated my habit of leaving code printouts everywhere, and I grumbled about her paint supplies taking over the bathroom sink. But we figured it out with compromises, like designating a creative corner for her and a tech zone for me. Life settled into a rhythm, mornings with shared coffee, evenings experimenting with recipes from online forums, weekends exploring nearby trails or binge, watching sci-fi series. Money was tight at first. My salary covered basics, but her freelance ebbed and flowed, so we budgeted like pros, using apps to track every dollar. One unexpected perk was how our skills meshed. I'd help her code simple websites for clients, and she'd design killer resumes that got me interviews for better positions. About a year into cohabiting, I landed a promotion that meant more stability, and we celebrated with a road trip to a national park, hiking trails that left us sore but exhilarated. On that trip, under a starry sky by a campfire, I proposed. No ring yet, just a promise whispered while roasting marshmallows. She said yes with tears, and we planned a simple courthouse wedding, inviting close family for a backyard barbecue after. Marriage didn't change much at first. It was like upgrading from dating to partners in crime. We bought a small house in the suburbs, the kind with a yard big enough for a garden she insisted on planting, even though neither of us had green thumbs. Work consumed me more with the new role, leading teams on software for logistics companies, optimizing routes that saved fuel and time. She started getting steadier gigs, designing branding for startups, and we talked about kids someday, but not rushing it. And two, then came the first curveball during a routine checkup. Doctors found a lump in her breast. It was early stage, treatable, but the diagnosis hit like a truck. We navigated chemo together, me holding her hand through sessions, shaving my head when her hair fell out to make her laugh. She powered through with sketches of cancer monsters she defeated in her art journal. Recovery was slow, but it brought us closer, teaching us resilience. Post-treatment we adopted a rescue dog, a mutt with boundless energy that forced us on daily walks, rebuilding her strength. Life normalized again, but with a deeper appreciation for the ordinary. Fast forward a couple years, and we're thriving. I'm mentoring juniors at work. She's exhibiting her designs at local shows. But then, another twist. I discovered old emails on our shared computer from before we met, hinting she'd been in a polyamorous relationship. Confronting her led to tears and explanations. It was experimental, ended before us, but it shook my trust. We went to therapy, unpacking insecurities, and emerged stronger, with better communication. Little did I know that was just the prelude to bigger storms. One evening, after a long day, she confessed she'd been feeling unfulfilled creatively, wanting to pursue a master's in fine arts, which meant quitting freelancing and us tightening. I supported it, taking on side gigs coding apps. School energized her, but the stress mounted as loans piled up. That's when I noticed changes. Late-night studying turned into secretive phone calls, and her energy shifted. I chalked it up to school pressure, but deep down, doubt gnawed. Then, the bombshell, I found receipts for hotel, stays I didn't know about. Confrontation revealed not an affair, but something weirder. She'd been moonlighting as a life-drawing model for art classes to pay tuition secretly, ashamed to ask for more help. It was innocent, but the secrecy hurt. We argued, forgave, and she quit, finding scholarships instead. Relief was short-lived. Months later, during a family visit, her mom let slip a secret. My wife had a half-sibling she'd never mentioned, from her dad's affair. This unraveled her, leading to therapy for family trauma. Supporting her through that, I realized our bond's depth. But twists kept coming. I got laid off in a company merger, plunging us into financial chaos. Desperate, I started a freelance coding business from home, while she graduated and landed a teaching gig at a community college. Adapting, we downsized, sold the house, moved to a condo. In the midst of this, we decided to try for kids, thinking it'd bring joy. Conception took time. Fertility tests revealed my low count from stress, but treatments worked, and she got pregnant. Joy turned to fear when complications arose. Preeclampsia forced bed rest. I juggled work and care, our dog becoming her constant companion. The birth was intense, emergency C-section, but our son arrived healthy. Parenthood flipped everything, sleepless nights, but watching her with him melted me. As he grew, toddler tantrums tested us, but we tag-teamed. Then, another pivot, her teaching job, led to an opportunity co-authoring a design book requiring travel. I encouraged it, handling home front. Absence highlighted how much I relied on her, sparking my own growth. I joined a dad's group, learned cooking beyond basics. But during one trip, she called in panic. The co-author propositioned her. She shut it down, but it stirred old insecurities. Upon return, we recommitted, planning family vacations. Years passed, our son starting school, me stabilizing my business. Then the biggest twist, a routine DNA test for ancestry, revealed I'm not his biological father. Shockwave. As turns out, during fertility treatments, a clinic mix-up used wrong sample. Devastated, we sued, but more importantly, navigated emotions. She swore fidelity, tests confirmed accident. It challenged my identity as dad, but love prevailed. Biology be damned, he's mine. Therapy helped, and we adopted a second child, a girl from foster care, completing our family. Now, reflecting, our story isn't fairy tale, it's real, with scars from twists like health scares, secrets, job losses, and that paternity bomb. But each turn forged us stronger, teaching forgiveness, adaptability. If you're reading this, relationships aren't perfect. They're work, surprises, and choosing each other daily. AMA if you want, Redditors. Wait, that's part one wrapped, but honestly it feels like just the setup because things got even wilder after that initial phase. So, picking up where I left off, with our family expanding and that DNA twist still fresh, life didn't slow down. Our son was about 5, starting kindergarten in the public school system where buses run like clockwork but parent-teacher conferences feel like interrogations. I transitioned fully to running my own coding consultancy, working from a home office cluttered with monitors and sticky notes, while she balanced teaching and promoting her book. The adoption process for our daughter was grueling. Background checks, home visits, classes on trauma, informed parenting. She was 3 when she came to us, wide-eyed and wary, with a backstory of neglect that broke our hearts. Integrating her meant therapy for all, learning sign language basics since she had some hearing issues from birth. Nights were tough. She'd wake screaming, and we'd take turns rocking her back to sleep. Our son adjusted remarkably, sharing toys and declaring himself her protector. Amid this, financial strain eased as my business picked up clients from word of mouth, optimizing software for small manufacturers. But then, unexpected turn, a former colleague contacted me about a patent infringement on code I'd written years ago at the old job. Turns out the company sold it without credit, and I had grounds to sue. Hiring a lawyer drained savings, but we won a settlement that paid off debts and funded college funds. Elation was short during the trial. Stress triggered my wife's old health issues, a scare with abnormal cells but benign. It reminded us of fragility. Post-settlement, we splurged on a family trip to the coast, renting a beach house where kids built sandcastles, and we watched sunsets, recommitting to balance. Back home, she started a side hustle mentoring young designers online, webinars that brought in extra cash. I dove into open-source projects, contributing to communities that felt rewarding. But plot thickens, our daughter's biomom resurfaced, contesting the adoption on technicalities. Court battles ensued, emotional roller coaster with visits supervised. We fought, evidence of her instability won out, but it scarred us, questioning stability. Through it, our marriage deepened, late-night talks about fears, supporting each other. Kids thrived despite chaos, son excelling in robotics club, daughter blooming with hearing aids and speech therapy. Then, career shift for me, a big firm offered bouillotte for my consultancy, tempting security. I took it, becoming director, but corporate life grated again. She noticed my unhappiness, suggesting I teach coding part-time. I did, at the same community college, our paths crossing in hallways like old times. Romance reignited with stolen lunches. But twist, during a school event, I overheard gossip. She'd been offered a position at a prestigious art institute out of state. She hadn't told me, fearing upheaval. Confrontation led to arguments about sacrifices. I'd given up freedom for family. Now her turn? Therapy again, realizing resentment brewed. Recompromised, she took it remotely, traveling occasionally. Adjustment meant me handling more home duties, learning braiding hair and packing lunches. It worked, but loneliness crept in during her absences. One trip, weather stranded her, extending stay. I managed, but upon return she confessed emotional connection with a colleague, not physical but flirty texts. Hurt exploded, trust fractured. Weeks of distance, then reconciliation through counseling, setting boundaries. Healing involved date nights, rediscovering us beyond parents. Years rolled, kids hitting teens, son rebellious with gaming addiction, daughter navigating identity with adoption roots. We tackled as team, family meetings becoming norm. My job evolved. I pushed for remote options, aligning with her schedule. Then, bombshell, an audit revealed embezzlement at work, fingering me wrongly due to hacked accounts. Investigation cleared me, but reputation tarnished, leading to resignation. Down but not out, I pivoted to ethical hacking consultations, thriving in cybersecurity. She supported, her career soaring with exhibitions. Amid triumphs, health curveball, I developed diabetes from stress, forcing lifestyle overhaul, gym routines, meal prep she joined. Bonded over hikes, shedding pounds together. Kids graduated high school, son to engineering college, daughter art school, echoing parents. Empty nest hit hard, but we traveled, exploring national parks. Twist finale for this chapter, discovering old letters from her past, revealing she donated eggs in college, potentially half-siblings out there. We processed, deciding to inform kids. It opened dialogues about family definitions. Through all, our love endured, twisted but true. More to come, folks. Continuing the saga because if you thought the early years were twisty, the mid-phase amped it up with layers I never anticipated. With kids off to college, our house felt echoey, the kind where you hear every creak and miss the chaos of slammed doors and laughter. I'd settled into cybersecurity consulting, remote work, allowing flexibility, analyzing breaches for companies who'd rather pay me than hackers. She was tenured at the college now, curating student shows that drew crowds. We rediscovered hobbies. I built a home lab for testing vulnerabilities. She set up a studio in the spare room, painting abstracts inspired by digital glitches I'd describe. Date nights evolved from movies to wine tastings at local vineyards, debating philosophy over Cabernet. But emptiness bred reflection. We talked about regrets, like not traveling more pre-kids. So we planned a European trip, first time abroad for both. Packing excitement turned sour when airport security flagged my laptop for suspicious code, just test scripts, delaying us hours. Laughing it off in Paris, wandering streets, but she fell ill, food poisoning from street crepes. Hospital visit revealed allergy we'd missed. Recovery in hotel, but it bonded us, nursing her with room service. Back home, routine resumed, but with renewed zest. Then, professional twist, a client accused me of planting back doors. Baseless, but lawsuit threatened. Evidence exonerated, but stress aged me. She suggested sabbatical, I agreed. Volunteering at hackerspaces teaching kids safe coding, fulfilling, led to book deal on cybersecurity ethics. Her turn, gallery offer for solo show in NYC. Thrilled, but prep consumed her. I supported, but noticed distance, late nights, secretive. Paranoia from past, investigated gently, found she was collaborating with ex from Poly Days, now platonic mentor. Transparency lacked, argument ensued, but resolved with vows of openness. Show success launched her nationally, interviews rolling in. Jealousy nipped, but I channeled into my book tour. Paths diverged geographically, straining. Video calls helped, but loneliness peaked. During one separation, I reconnected with old friend at conference. Innocent coffee turned flirty, but I shut down, confessing to her. Forgiveness came hard, trust rebuilt slowly. Then, family crisis, son's college struggles with depression, dropping out temporarily. We rallied, him moving home for therapy. Daughter thrived, interning at design firm. Supporting son meant pausing careers. I tutored him in code, she in art therapy. Progress slow, but he re-enrolled. Amid this, our dog passed, grief uniting us. Adopted another, puppy energy revitalizing. Career highs, my book bestseller, her TEDx talk. But personal low during talk tour, she had car accident, minor but concussion. Rush to her, caregiving role reversal. Recovery sparked intimacy talks, addressing midlife dips. Spice returned with experiments, honest about desires. Twist, anonymous email claimed affair evidence. Investigated hoax from disgruntled ex-client. Paranoia eased, but vigilance up. Kids independent now, we downsized to condo, investing savings. Retirement whispers, but active still. Unexpected half-sibling from egg donation contacted her. Adult seeking connection. Met cautiously, expanding family. Emotional, but enriching. Through twists, accusations, health, separations, we adapted, love evolving. Reddit, it's resilience that counts, onward. Diving deeper, as the years piled on, our story morphed into something even more intricate, with turns that tested every fiber of our commitment. Kids fully launched, son graduated, landing tech job on West Coast, daughter freelancing designs globally. We visited often, cross-country flights becoming routine. My cybersecurity firm grew, hiring staff, office in downtown high-rise. She semi-retired from teaching, focusing on commissions, murals for public spaces, blending digital and traditional. Oh, mornings started with yoga together, evenings with home-cooked meals from garden veggies we'd finally mastered growing. Social circle expanded, book clubs, tech meetups. But complacency bred blind spots. One day, routine blood work flagged my elevated PSA prostate concerns. Biopsy confirmed early cancer. Surgery scheduled, fear gripped. She was rock, researching options, attending appointments. Post-op recovery rough, incontinence, intimacy issues. Therapy for both, navigating vulnerability. She shared her own menopause struggles, hormone shifts affecting mood. Openness healed, adapting physically, emotionally. Remission celebrated with Alaskan cruise, Northern Lights awe, inspiring. Back, business boomed, but partner embezzled funds. Discovery led to firing, legal action. IMN immense, but settlement recovered losses. Trust issues resurfaced, counseling ongoing. Then her twist, gallery scandal, forged pieces sold under her name. Not her doing, but associate implicated her. Cleared, but reputation hit. Repivoted, joint project, book on art tech intersection. Collaboration reignited spark, touring together. During tour, earthquake hit venue, minor, but panic-bonded audience, us included. Post-event, we volunteered in relief, perspective shift. Home, grandkids entered picture, son's surprise pregnancy announcement. Joy, but long-distance grandparenting challenging. Daughter came out, introducing partner. Supportive, family expanded. Holidays chaotic, loving. Health stable but aging realities, arthritis for her, vision tweaks for me. Adapted with aids, humor. Final twist, inheritance from distant relative, enough for dream, buying cabin in woods. Retreat for writing, painting, paint. There we reflect on journey from workshop meet to this. No fairy tale, but ours, twisted beautifully. Last leg, wrapping the epic because damn, it's been a ride. And sharing on Reddit feels cathartic, like closing a chapter while living it. With the cabin as base, we split time between city and woods, telecommuting when needed. Business handed to juniors, her art selective. Grandkids visits magical, teaching coding basics, art sessions. Son's family moved closer, easing bonds. Daughter married, beach ceremony we hosted. At milestones piled, our 25th anniversary, renewing vows privately by lake, reflections deep on twists like diagnoses, betrayals near misses, family secrets, career upheavals. Each forged resilience, empathy. Now, in quiet moments, we plan legacy, scholarships for underprivileged in tech art. Unexpected final turn, documentary offer on our blended life, from relationships to adoptions. Agreed, sharing story publicly, filming raw, reliving pain's triumphs. Aired, feedback overwhelming, connecting with others. Through all, our core, choice, forgiveness, growth. Reddit, if you're in trenches, hang on, twists define, not destroy.